The Running Warehouse Ballarat Marathon is back in April with flatter and faster courses, more entertainment and an expanded expo. The half marathon is now sold out and the full marathon is almost 90% sold, so sign up today at ballaratmarathon.com.au to lock in your place on the start line.
Welcome to episode 7 of the Road to Ballarat series. It's been 3 weeks since our last recording, so we've got plenty of training to recap. Plus, we have one of our elite athletes popping by for a chat. Firstly, welcome to the second biggest name in Ballarat behind Mona and star of the series, Jason Rossi. How have you been, mate?
Yeah, thanks, Coach. It's been a decent 2 weeks of just being down in Melbourne, a lot of family stuff going on. So very draining couple of weeks. And then I've come down with a cold, I reckon, today. So back in Ballarat as of about 40 minutes ago. So hopefully now just can get rid of the cold, shake the code, do a bit of tapering, and we'll be right to go.
And what's the buzz like around town? I've noticed you got your own column in the Ballarat Courier in the lead up to this event.
Yeah, that's a good pickup. They did. They wanted a blog, a bit of a training diary. So I've been putting that together as well, which does help doing the podcast. They wanted originally to do like a husband and wife. So like the runner and they call it what is it? Like, what is it when your partner dies? Like, it's like the wife without a husband sort of thing.
The widow.
Yeah, the running widow. But yeah, so I just thought, no, it might be better without my wife's opinion of what running's like. So yeah, just the solo blog post. But I think that's good. They're getting a few other people involved in a lot of articles in the newspaper. There's a lot happening from the different organisations that are involved as well now. Plenty of posts going out. There's all the last minute stuff. I know from like the Fed Uni side, I'm on leave at the moment, but there's a lot of emails going back and forth and messages around, the event marquees and what the stuff looks like.
Yeah. Very good. We'll recap your 3 weeks of training shortly, but our special guest this week is a 2:19 marathoner, Olympian for the triathlon and the 2006 Commonwealth Games triathlon champion. Welcome back to the Inside Running podcast, Brad Kahlefeldt.
Thanks, Brad. Good to be back.
Yeah, so a lot of our listeners probably haven't heard from you because a lot of the times that you've come on have been Road to series, but they've been on Patreon only. So this one's going out to the public. So I guess, you've been running, since retiring from triathlon, running marathons since about, 2017, 2018?
Yeah, I think my first one was Gold Coast. I think it was around 2018, maybe. I ran with Jess Trengove up on the Gold Coast there and did 2:27. And then, Melbourne after that, Lake Biwa, or a couple in Japan, Fukuoka as well, and a couple in Europe. So I'm from a running family. Mum and dad have both done marathons, probably 30 or 40 marathons each. So kind of grew up running cross country and athletics and things like that, and then got into the sport of triathlon, and that was my job for about 20 years.
Yeah, very good. And last time we spoke to you was in the lead up to last year's Valencia Marathon. So I've got a few questions about that race. So for the listeners out there, Brad went through halfway in 68:37, so low 2:17 pace, and unfortunately ended up 2:38. And looking at your splits though, like you're still running pretty well at 30K. I think you said off air it was pretty much from like 36K onwards. What were your takeaways from that race, and like how sort of disappointed were you knowing that you're in good shape and that obviously 2:38 isn't a true reflection of where you're at the time?
Yeah, it was quite disappointing. I knew I was in pretty good shape. Look, I was going for a PB My first goal when I started marathon running would try and get under 220. And I did that twice at the Sydney Elite Marathon during COVID, and also Seville Marathon. I did 219. So that box was kind of ticked. So I wanted to chase a PB, and that was sub 219. So I knew I had to go a little bit quicker than what it went in Seville the year prior. So Seville, I went through half. I think it was 109.11, and then finished 219.30 something. So, I didn't negative split, but I didn't lose too much time. So I thought, you know what, let's go out 30 seconds quicker and see how I go. I think at the start, I was probably running in the wrong group up until like 5K, then realised and quickly sort of made the move up to a group, like a bigger group just ahead. And that kind of killed me. I didn't want to push up too quick, but at the same time, there's a little bit of wind, so I wanted to take some shelter. So moved up, but yeah, I just having a look at the splits as you do after the race, and just a few kilometers at 3:11, 3:12, 3:13, 3:11, just to catch that group. Once I caught the grip, I settled in nicely. Actually felt pretty good through half, really controlled. 3:30K, feeling good. And then I sort of, the guys who I was running with, I realised, afterwards they sort of ran 2:18, 2:19, and that I knew I was probably in the right group. I just overcooked it, to be honest. Just trying to catch that group, and blew pretty bad. I blew the Hemi out big time around 36K, so went through 35, and I was okay, but unfortunately, the Hemi blew out to the point where I couldn't run. I quickly stopped, and it just felt like I tore it. But I had to walk for a bit, and then I kind of just limped home. It was a sorry state, that's for sure. Probably the last 5 or 6K, it was horrible. I was passed by thousands of athletes, and at that point in time, I'm like, I just have to finish. Like, I don't want to get on the plane going home and not finish the race, because I put so much effort into it. So yeah, it was disappointing. At the same time, I had a crack, and you learn so much from the marathon, with nutrition, pacing, everything, footwear, everything. So a lot of key takeaways from that, which I implement into this build, and all's on track at the moment. So.
Yeah. So how has this build been different from your Valencia one? And do you want to sort of just give us a bit of an overview of how your build has looked for this race?
Yeah, I try to keep it pretty similar. Look, I've sort of capped it out. I would say sort of 145. I don't really run into 150, 160 kilometers per week, just because, like, I'm 45 now. I know that's probably in the number around the 140, 145 before I really start to get injuries and illness and things like that. Obviously, with a business and 2 little girls, life's pretty hectic. So that's my number, roughly around that, the 140, 145. And that's what I've tried to manage for a number of weeks, I would say. Everything's on my Strava as well. So it's just a gradual build, probably from 8 weeks, 10 weeks out, where I'm probably running like 130, 140, 145. Even 146, 147 in the peak weeks. But that includes at least a couple of sessions a week, usually some hill efforts on a Tuesday, followed by some fast pace, like 10 minuters, around that 3-minute K pace, even 2:55, pure leg speed and strength at the start. And then, the marathon key sessions, that might be 3 by 5K, in that sort of 3:15, 3:16 range, with about 3 minutes recovery. Or a couple of weeks ago, I did 2 by 8Ks with 4.5 recovery. First one, 3:16, second one, 3:17, probably 1 or 2 seconds quicker than race pace. And the long runs, I usually do at pace as well, like decent pace. So the last big long run was a couple of weeks ago, 35K at Bridge. So I felt pretty good for that. Pretty good weather. Summer's kind of almost finished here. I guess we've got another couple of hot days over Easter, but it certainly makes that long run a little bit easier when it's about that 10 to 12 degrees instead of 19, which it was for most of the summer. So
Yeah. Also noticed this time around that you were doing the occasional Saturday where you do like a longer warm up. You'd go and do one of the local, I'm guessing Wagga sort of cross country races, and then a long cool down.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to mix it up because Wagga Road Runners runs. They change location every month, but all around Wagga, usually cross country. It's never really on the road. And this particular course was in Pomegranate, so it was probably 16, 17k away. So I'd start early. The run would start at 7:30 at Pomegranate, so I'd wake up really early, start out, smash myself for 7k, 7 or 8k over the cross country course. It's quite hilly. Get some nutrition in and pretty much run home through the hills. So that sort of made it a big day, 37 to 39k. I did that a few times. That was really good. So I just wanted to change it up basically instead of running, the long run every Sunday. I just wanted to mix it up with a Saturday long run with road runners incorporated in that, or even a park run I've done prior as well. Not this prep, but just to mix things up. I think more mentally helps a lot.
For these like steady state long runs, so I've noticed you did one run, it was like 37k, I think averaging like 3:44s, and you're pretty much out the door. Like you don't do really a warm up for that. Like I just had a look here, it's like 3:59 first K, 3:53, 3:47, and you're into it. No warm up?
Not really. No, like I usually have, like I don't start the clock probably until like the 300 or 400 meter mark. So I've probably got another like a minute or two up my sleeve, but no, I just get it done. Yeah, like I don't know. I really enjoy the long runs, to be honest. So at pace, I like because it's challenging. I find the strength component is really helps me in the back end of my marathon training and do it over a couple of undulations as well. So I try and keep it at a decent pace. Usually just run by myself mainly, to be honest, except for probably the Tuesday fartlek. So yeah.
And how would those 37k at 3:44s, like when you're getting sort of to the back end of that run, how would that compare to the marathon? At what point of the marathon would you be sort of feeling at that point? Like are you pretty much hooked, or you still feel like you could run another 5-10k comfortably?
I can definitely run another 5 or 10 at that pace. But yeah, like after the 30k, when you're running, especially if you do a little negative split, which you sometimes do, which you bring it sort of down to 3:40s or just under, like you are, there's a lot of fatigue in the body. You're not probably taking on the nutrition you do for racing. I leave some drink bottles out the night before sometimes, not always, but that's the goal, is to fatigue the legs and the body as much as you can to try and simulate that feeling you get in a race. And I think that certainly helps. Ideally, it'd be nice to do it with someone at a decent pace, but sometimes, you might take some mates out, like a mate on the bike that can carry a drink bottle and maybe pace you for the last 10 or something. So, I've just studied, some of the Kenyan guys as well. Canova as well, all these athletes, do that pretty quick long run pace. Those guys are a lot quicker than me, obviously, but some of those guys are running, sub 3:30 for their 40k long runs at altitude, which is amazing. So I'm not in their level, nowhere near it, but look, I enjoy sort of doing the long runs. I look forward to it. Actually, it's probably my favorite run of the week, to be honest. Pretty tight afterwards, and then sort of lay up and try and recover for the week ahead after that.
And how would you compare your shape now versus going into Valencia? Are you as fit now as you were for Valencia?
Oh, if you asked me a couple of weeks ago, I'd say definitely yes. A little bit sick the last 5 days, but hopefully I'll come good in another day or two. I've just rested. I've really listened to my body this time around. Like when I was young, I'd just be like a bull at a gate. Like I'd just keep pushing, and if you get a little bit sick, like you might take half a day off, then go again. But now I've really, like, especially this close to the marathon where you're only a little bit over a week out, I've just really listened to the body and shut it down. So overall form is quite good. The form, I would say, I don't know, if you put a number on it, maybe a 220, or I'd love to go under 220, 218. I'm not 100% sure. Valencia course was super quick with a lot of guys who I was running as well. As everyone knows, that's why it's super quick. It's not just the course, it's the runners around you, and that's the reason why I went, just to experience it. And also I love racing in Spain. Like Seville was a great experience. So don't know where I'll end up, but look, I've given as much as I can into this prep, and we'll see how we go.
So given the way that Valencia went, with maybe being a little bit too aggressive in the first half, are you going to sort of employ the same tactics, or will you sort of be a little bit more on the conservative side through halfway and sort of a bit more of that sort of 69 to 69.30?
Yeah, probably more the Seville, the 109. Yeah, probably the 109 to 70, I think, to see how I feel though. But yeah, I just want to be a little bit more conservative this time around. But also comes down to obviously weather, the course, and who you got to run with. I heard on your podcast a few weeks ago that you have a number of sub 220 runners coming. And a pacer, Steve, which is great. So, like, who knows? Who knows how I feel? Sometimes you run out and you feel great, and you can negative split. Sometimes not. But look, I'll just see how things are going. I'm fit. Not quite ready as I got sick a couple of days ago, but in a couple of days' time, hopefully I'll be set and ready to go. So yeah, we'll see.
And the other thing as well, because the half starts at the same time, you're going to have a heap of half marathoners that are running, that 69 in that pack as well. So
absolutely, it's a huge advantage for both, actually, the half runners and also the marathon runners, just to lock in and follow those half runners, if we can. So if there's packs around you, you might as well use it, because it doesn't happen too often, to be honest. And that's the question I asked when I entered. I asked, the half start at the same time, and they said yes. And I think that's a great opportunity to try and get in the pack and get a little bit of cover and a little bit of help to get you through. So look, the whole race, everything looks so professional. It just, they've done a really good job. They really think about the athletes. I can tell. Just that race briefing we had the other night was, outstanding. And really looking forward to going down to Ballarat. I haven't been down to Ballarat since I was a junior, I think. So it's kind of the running mecca, I guess, and around the lake, the Monofart Lake and stuff is quite famous in the running world. And looking forward to it.
Yeah, and the last thing I was going to touch on, which I guess given you're sick, we probably won't dig into it too much, but you raced a 10K on the weekend in Canberra. I believe it was around 32 flat. Canberra's it's not a super quick course, but you're not going to read too much into that race.
Yeah, it struggled a little bit. Didn't feel good. Some runs you feel good, and I didn't really taper that much. But 32, I was somewhat disappointed in that. I was expecting to go 31 and a half, maybe, or even under. But as it turned out, I pushed pretty hard, and it was quite sick, the last couple of days. But I'm not going to read too much into it. You can't taper for everything, especially only a couple of weeks out. So my wife won the half, so that sort of made up for things, and just her shout at the shopping mall afterwards.
Nice. Any questions for him, Jace, before we let him go?
When are you arriving in Ballarat?
Friday. Yeah,
Friday. Nice.
So
have you looked ahead?
5-hour drive.
Yeah, okay, driving down. Have you looked ahead at the long range forecast yet?
I had a quick look just before, actually. The Friday's a little bit of rain, is it? Or?
Well, yeah, who knows this far out, but at least it's not going to be hot.
Yeah, exactly. The temperature looks pretty good. It looks quite optimal, really. At 7:30, I think is around 8 degrees this time of year, or.
Yeah, be thereabouts, and it doesn't look like it'll get much over sort of 14, 15. But it's a long range forecast, but it looks not too bad. Low chance of rain. The wind is a guess, I reckon, at this stage. They just put in the yearly average or whatever. But
okay. And what sort of wind direction are you sort of looking at for?
What are they saying
here? Conditions?
It's saying southwest. That would. And it wouldn't be too bad, actually. The west west coming from Adelaide is going to be hitting you up street. So that's what you don't want. You don't want a wind from the west, basically.
Okay.
But it's sort of, you're going to go every direction too. But and I measured the hill the other day. I've been in Melbourne a lot the last 2 weeks, but I did come back for one day and did the course, and sort of just took note of how long you're climbing up the hill at Sturt, and it's nearly bang on a kilometre. So from Town Hall to Macca's. So it's not a massive incline, but it is a kilometre of climbing. Sort of lap 1, you won't feel it too much, but lap 2 is when I felt it. You probably won't feel it at all. For those back in the pack like me, it'll be, it's about a kilometre you got to get through.
Yeah, right.
Nice one. Well, thanks, Stixie, for being generous with your time. It's always great to catch up. All the best for week and a half. Go and smash that over 45s record. I had it penciled in for Valencia.
We'll see about that. I feel every bit of 45 at the moment, mate, to be honest. But just looking forward to another race, a new race, and looking forward to getting out there and using the train that you put in for the last few months. So, yeah,
you got to do it. You got to do it for the boys, mate, because the over 45s women's record's faster than the men's at the moment.
Is it?
Yeah, because Sinead's national record of 2:21.
Oh, wow.
She ran that when she was 45 in Valencia.
Wow. What's the men's record, Brad? Do you know?
It's 224 or 225.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but go under the 221. So at least the guys' record's faster than the girls' record.
Yeah. Good point. Well, I'll try.
All right. All the best. Great chatting, and we might catch up afterwards. See you, mate. Bye.
Thanks, Brad.
Bye.
All right. Over to you, Jay. So still in one piece?
Yeah, still in one piece. I think like the feet are still, will like a break at the end of it all. But it's once I'm warmed up and running, there's no issues. So that's good. Like there's been a couple of mates of mine just in the last week that have sort of texted in and said, got this or got that, and either are going to be running a lot more conservatively or not running at all. So, I think that is it's the time, isn't it? The long runs, those last couple of long runs with a bit of effort in it seem to be what have got people unstuck. So
yeah. So what I thought we'd do is, so obviously we're going to recap from 5 weeks out down to 2 weeks out. But rather than go through every sort of day of the week, I thought let's just do your key sessions for the week and then how many kilometers you ended up running for that week. Yep,
that sounds good. So I think we're March 24th-ish, might have been 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
So there's just a couple of runs in there, Monday, Tuesday. Wednesdays was my first hill run back, and I just did 10Ks with 209 meters of elevation, and the foot felt really good. So that was good to just tick that one off, and I think mentally more than anything else. The Thursday is when I did an actual session, and that session was 3K warm up, then the 6:20 strides, 2 kilometers at threshold with 1 minute rest, and then 1 kilometer at 5K pace with 2 minutes rest, and repeating that 3 times. If that all makes sense. So those for that workout itself, the first 2K rep was at 4:09 pace, and then I went 3:59 for the 1K. Then the next 2K was 4:14 pace, which is probably a more accurate threshold. I think anywhere sort of 4:15 to 4:20, 25 is probably right. And then I went 3:58 for the 1K at 5K pace. The last 2K was at, again, 4:15 pace, which, bang on, and followed that with a 3:57 for the 1K. It all felt really good. Those paces I noted were feeling a lot easier. Like I am running too fast at the start. Like if I went on feel of what I think 5K pace should be, I've always gone too quick. I think I've said it 1,000 times, but I'm probably setting out at like 3:30 to 3:40 pace, 3 minutes 40 a K pace. And like that just wasn't even in my wheelhouse, I think 12 weeks ago, to go that fast. So there's definitely fitness gains there. I probably don't look too much at heart rate. That's one thing I take away listening to obviously you and Brady and Moose talk regularly, and monitoring heart rate. That's probably the next step in my evolution, I think, of looking where that sits. Now that I've got a proper heart rate monitor, that's probably more accurate. But I'm sure Chris, the coach, is looking at all that, and because he does guide me now in what sort of threshold paces I should be doing. But that was a good run, and that was just laps of the lake, really. Yeah. So it was nice and flat. There was no elevation in that one. Then the Friday was the Ballarat Marathon Run Club run, so that's super easy. I did a long run on Saturday. I did it in 2 parts because I wanted to test a couple of the shoes again, just in the sort of a more regular running environment rather than a treadmill. So for the first 12.5 Ks, I did use the Endorphin Elite 2s. And they do feel much better on a road than a treadmill. Because when I wore them, they were just super, and I massively heel strike. They were super soft on the treadmill and just didn't feel unreal. Still felt good, but they were much better on the actual road. And then the second half of it, I wore the Alpha Fly 1s. So I did 10.5 K, both at sort of 4:50 or 4:45 pace the whole way, which is, again, where I'd sort of run at 5K previously. I'm sort of creeping down a little bit. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's just that natural pace that you can sort of sit at comfortably.
What were the instructions for this long run? Was it just a standard time on your feet? Were you meant to be rolling a particular pace?
No, he just gives kilometres. So it was 23 Ks by easy conversational pace. Yeah. And generally he also puts he'll put the time and the kilometres there generally, and it pretty much marries up to 5 minutes thereabouts a K. So it's probably a little bit quicker now, but yeah, it's thereabouts for this one. There was no efforts or anything in there, just purely one speed.
So that week was 72K, but essentially it was just sort of one key session and the long run. Yeah,
and that's been a lot of it at the moment. Is just one main session with the long run, and then a little bit in between, sort of hills or something thrown in there, but nothing major. Next week started off similar. A couple, the Monday and Tuesday runs, same sort of mileage. Starting off with a real easy 6K, then going into sort of 12. I did the progressive run that I've done 3 or 4 times now. So that 3 kilometre warm up. So this was the session for the week. 3 kilometre warm up, strides, and 3Ks at 4:35 pace, 3K at 4:30 pace, 3K at 4:25 pace. And that's so total of 15Ks. 4:40 was the average pace, just obviously based on the warm up and cool down added in there. Finding those pace zones pretty easily. I think I started at 4:36, so that first 3K was the average. The second 3K I was bang on 4:30 pace, and then the last 3Ks I was 4:23 pace. So just progressed through it nicely. Feels really good. It's an enjoyable run. The second lot of 3K is probably harder than the last, because you sort of got so long to go. When you're counting down the Ks at the end, it's pretty a bit easier to get through it. Again, I just did that one around the lake, so that's more the go-to for any session, keeping it flat. Again, the next couple of days were pretty easy. The Marathon Run Club thing again. And this is the week where sort of personally it all started kicking off. So we had a sick relative that we had to get down to Melbourne for. So then I was taking my wife back and forth the Wednesday and the Thursday. And then the Friday night we stayed in Melbourne, and then we stayed there for about a week, I think it was. So I tried to do this long run on the Saturday, and I said, I Googled where I could run because we're in Glenroy. So sort of there's this track that goes through Essendon, and you can sort of go either way on this running track. Locals will know it. There's a lot of people use it. A lot of people have their dogs on it and don't put their dogs on a lead, which was frustrating the whole time. But I started this run. I said, look, I'll go 9Ks one way, come back and just do that 4 times for 36Ks. I took my phone and just said, ring me if you need me. So, of course, I was at my furthest point. I'd done one lot of 5K effort. I was 9Ks away and got the phone call to say, hey, we need to come home. So I actually got an Uber and got home, but just cut that one short. So that's why it was 9.5K at 4:46 pace. And then the next day, change of tact. I just went, I'm going to go 3Ks one way, 6Ks back the other way, 6Ks back the other way. So I was never more than 3Ks away. And didn't get a phone call, but it was fine that day. So the actual run was meant to be a 3K warm up, then the strides, then 5x5K at marathon pace with a 1K sort of float or easy in between each one. So I did this spur of the moment. So for the first attempt, I carb loaded Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning, and then didn't do the run, and then ended up doing it Sunday at 4:28 p.m. when I my mother-in-law come back to their house with me, had the kids, and I said, can I just get out for 3 hours while you make tea? And so I had about a 2-minute warning to go. So I hadn't eaten properly, hadn't drank all day, but it was I was feeling fine. So the 5x5K efforts, I'll scroll down to the actual workout. Started really well, felt really good. Went 4:33 average for the first 5K, 4:37 for the second 5K, 4:34 for the third 5K. The fourth 5K, I went 4 minutes 40, but I was on track until probably 4Ks in, and then lost a lot of pace in the last kilometre. That's when I started to feel it. And then the 1 kilometre in between, I nearly went 6 minute K. Like I reckon I walked a little bit for that one. And then the 5th rep, I got 3.5 Ks in and called it. So I was doing 4:45 average, feeling terrible. I did have a couple of bottles with me, and I drank all the fluid out of them. I'd been taking gels every 8 kilometers through it, but I just had nothing in the legs. And I thought, rather than tick the box just to tick it, I just called it and stopped the run there. And then I had to go a kilometer to get back home, and that was at 6:27 pace. Like I really just was exhausted. And yeah, as the last big workout before the marathon, it was a little bit deflating because I had been doing pretty well in those runs previously, all the 3x5K, the 4x5K. Yeah. So a little bit deflating, but really good. Like in the comments of the actual run, and I think it's actually the run I've got the most kudos on ever, and the most comments. So it's good. A lot of support, and people saying just write it off, and all the work's still in there. One bad run won't sort of end it. A lot of positive comments. So that was really good.
Did it sort of change because I know when we spoke ages ago, it was like, okay, well, like you're way fitter than your, current PB, but you're almost wanting to take off. What were you looking to take off? Like close to 20 minutes.
Yeah. So it's about 20-minute PB.
Yeah. And so we always talk about on the show, like people's A goal, B goal, C goal. And are you, after this run in particular, like somewhat concerned that if you go for the A goal, you then potentially miss the B and the C?
Yeah, definitely. It's a case of because the pacing groups work 3 hours. I'm not going 3 hours. 3 hours 10 and then 3 hours 20. And I said to another mate today, text me sort of asking, his PB is 3:14, so he's sort of in the same boat going, I'll probably go with the 3:10s and see what happens, where my PB is 3:28. So do I go 3:10s and potentially die at 32 Ks or 30 Ks, or do I go out at 3:20 group and try and kick home maybe the last half or a bit more, depending how I'm feeling. So that's a conversation I think I've still got to have with Chris to see what the best tactic is. Look, maybe marathons just need a 3 hour 15 pacer as well. There's a lot of people.
Sure, there'll be people around though, because you've got to remember, there's going to be half runners, out there as well, and there'll be a fair bit of depth around that time, I'd imagine, for the half.
Yeah. I'll have to work out what that group would be, and I know other people that are around that 3 hours 15, and it could just be what Chris thinks, because obviously, for me, I just don't have the experience to know.
Yeah.
If I do go at 3:10, if it does all go wrong, it's going to go wrong pretty bad.
And then you potentially don't even run a PB if it goes. You know what I mean? If you go that bad, whereas it's okay, well, let's tick the box of let's go the sub 3:20. Let's maybe even try and go 3:15, and then the next one, let's go sub 3:10. It's
that's it. Yeah.
But,
I suppose there's the added pressure of this podcast too. So it's trying to do it for that. But the long, if you look at it from a longer lens, it's just go conservative. This one, build the next one. I've already entered to do Melbourne as well this year. So it's then that's the next one. And then Ballarat comes around again because they're sort of 6 months apart. So, I'm not young, turning 40 this year, but I could still have that gradual improvement over a sustained period.
And how much do you feel like the ongoing family stuff is that sort of going to impact the next week and a half as well, or
no? So the relative passed away sort of last week, and then that's why we stayed in Melbourne basically 2 weeks. Had the funeral yesterday, and then back in Ballarat tonight. So 40 minutes ago, got back to Ballarat. No, I appreciate it, but it is. It was 91 and had a pretty good life. So still, very, very sad and hard to get through, emotionally draining. But I think now we're back in Ballarat. The kids are on school holidays still. We sort of got a bit of downtime. I think this next 10 days to get through will be pretty much just based here. Do a few day trips and that, but probably try and recover, get a bit more sleep. Do all the things to tick all the boxes to be ready to go. And it definitely would have had an impact though in the last 2 weeks of just drain, because getting home now you can just feel it. You're I could fall asleep.
Yeah. Well, look, the positive was, that was probably your biggest. Well, see what here, 89 kilometers. Which, looking at your bars, it's pretty much your highest bar. So although that last run didn't go to plan, you still got through the mileage. And I guess what everyone wants to know is, did the next week, did you start to feel better than you did on that long run?
Yeah, I did. And I think, because I did a few more runs. So again, it was just the easy run on what would have been 2 days later. I felt really legs felt heavy, and I ran that in. Because I didn't plan to be away that long, I had 2 pairs of shoes, and one was the Vaporflies and one was the Infinity Run, the Nike React. Yeah. So I was in those, and I hadn't run in a shoe because I've been running the Zoom Flies so often, or the Invincibles, or super shoes. I hadn't run in just a stock standard shoe for kilometers before on the road. It felt terrible. So I don't know whether it was the long run in the legs, probably a bit of both. The legs just felt so terrible and beat up. And the shoes felt ridiculously bad. Well, they were my go-to. I used to run in those most times. So, it was a real hard run, but it did pick up the next. And then the next day after that, so it was a 55-minute run the next day. I'd come back, got shoes, and gone back to Melbourne, and actually felt really good. So it was a quick bounce back. And the session that week, so they were up to the 10th, which is sort of a week ago from now. It was a 3K warm-up, the strides, and then 25 minutes at threshold with 2 minutes standing recovery, and then 4x1 minutes at 3K pace, which that's a bit of a guess, with 1 minute standing recovery. And the body was feeling great again. So it was really good. That I really enjoy. I hadn't done too much of it I reckon, in a lot of this. But the threshold pace now, I know where that is. And I enjoy running at that pace. So the longer time, at 25 minutes, covered just under 6Ks and was bang on 4:15 pace. That felt really good. I think the thing, and what I was noticing when I was doing it, and why I finished bang on 4:15 when the range I had was 4:15 to 4:25, is if I'm under that pace, I'll gradually let it go back up. As soon as I go over 4:25, I'm like putting in an effort to get it back under. It's just that mental thing. I try and get it straight back under that. But if I'm below the zone, I'm like, that's all right. I'll slowly let it go back out.
But the funny thing is, you're basing that off what your watch is saying, and we're assuming that the watch is gold standard of what actual pace you're running at.
Yeah. It's probably like 12 seconds delayed or something. It says too.
Yeah, but even I remember Ellie was on once and we were chatting about one of her sessions, and she was doing a session where there was some like tree coverage, and she knows that the GPS is a bit dodgy through there. And she was running, the watch was saying that she was running slower than the pace that she wanted, even though deep down she knew she was probably running it at the correct pace. She then had to run faster just so the watch said that she was running that pace. But in the meantime, she's running faster than she should have because, it was just the GPS error.
Yeah, it's a real mental thing, isn't it? It's funny how it works. Maybe we're better off without the technology. But anyway.
Like warm up, cool down and everything. Like you've averaged 4:37s there, which like that's what's that? That's like 3 hours 13 marathon pace, like with warm ups and cool down. So you're obviously fit.
Yeah, I'm feeling really fit. And every time I have a couple of days off, I have performed really well throughout this build. So I do think this tape is going to serve me quite well. So yeah, I've got a lot of confidence in that. I missed yesterday, obviously. I had a 9K run that I just didn't end up doing. And then I did a session this morning. And then Chris just wrote and said, look, if you miss one or two in the next 10 days, you're not going to get any fitter. So if you need to miss them. And it's good for my recovery anyway. So I've seen them bounce back from those pretty well. In that session, I did do the what were they? The 3K pace ones were like 3 minutes 45, 3:24, 3:38, 3:40 pace for those ones. A bit up and down, but it's such a short, like 1 minute, such a quick time that you don't really get a bearing, and it is a bit undulating, that path too. So, there's some uphill, some downhill for sure in that as well. And then, so probably the last one for this was the long run, which was then, so I did this on Saturday. So I did come back to Ballarat for this one and just did the half marathon, I had to do 23K again, I think it was. So I did the course once, and then I just went up and back to get the extra Ks in. So I did the hill twice, which I think is also a good mental one for me, just to know, like, you got to do that hill twice. You got to do it on tired legs. So I do like to do it after one lap of the course, go up again. I had gels at 45 and 90 minutes. I did have to quickly go to the toilet after 40 minutes, which and I hadn't taken gels or anything. So I don't know. It was just one of those things, I think. But that's just another seed of doubt going to the back of the mind for marathon day. But it's all been pretty good with any, like, obviously taking the fixed gels for as they're the partner of the marathon. So been training a lot with those. I did on this one though. I think I got some of the Morton ones. I'd never had them before, as I didn't have the fixed ones on me. And yeah, they're very different, I would say. I found them easy to take, but the consistency is like nothing else, no other gel that I've tried. It's a bit of a different one.
So have you decided on your nutrition for race day?
Yeah, I'll go. I've got the bottles and stuff for the belt. I'll probably run with a belt, look to swap it was another belt at the halfway, if possible. If I could talk someone into doing that, and just have the fix electrolyte mix in that, I feel that's going really. And then the fixed gels as well that have been, they've been doing pretty well too. So that'll be what I do. I go every 7K or so. So yeah, the nutrition will be gels every 7K, and then just look to take the right amount of fluid, but probably 2-4 better liter, I think I've got in bottles that I could mix and take. And that's been working fairly well in long runs. I haven't been reacting to anything poorly. I'll do a 2-day carb load before it, which, just obviously the main thing's just making sure I'm getting as much raw food, lots of sugars, lots of juices and lollies and all that sort of stuff in as I can before it. And hopefully it gets me through the energy levels for the day.
This long run was just in normal shoes, no super shoes?
No, I did this one in, I think I did it in Vaporflies. Let me just double check. Yeah. No, I did in the Zoom Flies.
Okay, yeah. So you've run hour 50, 4:48. So, and it's like they feel really comfortable.
Yeah. This is pretty cruisy, this one.
It's pretty nice to know you're running close to 2 hours on an easy long run that's about 8 minutes fast, 8 minutes faster than marathon PB pace, because it's I think 320 pace roughly what you did your long run at on the weekend.
Yep.
So,
it would be.
Yeah.
I reckon. Let me see. I'm just scrolling through trying to see if it gives you the old PBs. Because it could have been one of the runs I've done recently was like my second best half marathon, and I seem to do that a bit because I haven't run a proper half marathon. So that'll be the next thing as well, is having a crack somewhere at a half marathon with this level of fitness.
I'd love to see some of that on my Strava.
Yeah.
Training run PBs, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, you got to go back to the start, or just start a new Strava up.
Very good. So that week was. How many Ks? We were a bit lower in the taper, 58.
Yeah. And then this week will be less again. This week, this will be under 50 actually. So I think it's prescribed to be 51 the week coming now. But because I missed a 9K yesterday, it'll be around the 42 mark if I don't do any extra. So tapering right off, and then the week after I think it's already in there as well too. Which again, as I said, is good. I think the body only benefits from it for me. I'm not going to gain anything from any fitness things now. It'll just be the OCD or the obsession of that routine of getting up, going for a run, doing that sort of thing. But I'm looking forward to a relaxed sort of 10 days before it. And,
so I did have a listener question which came in regarding, I guess, if people are out there wanting to hand drinks to people, where would be the best place on course to be able to see them multiple times? So basically as many bottles as possible without having to move around the course a heap. Yeah.
So I don't know whether they officially want to promote this too much. I think people do it though regularly. I could be wrong. I'm less experienced in this area. I think if you look at the layout of the course, and where I think a lot of people figured it out last year that Pleasant Street is probably a good one. So you run up Sturt and you go past Pleasant Street, you go up further to where Vic Park and everything is. Then you come back down and you turn at Pleasant Street. So that's an area where you're going to see people as they go to the lake and then they come back from the lake. They go on Pleasant Street. They go down sort of Sturt to the start and come back up again, and they'll pass Pleasant Street again before going sort of through Vic Park. So that's probably a spot you're going to see people 6 times, and probably 4 or 5 of those are probably good spots to hand stuff out. So definitely don't go there if I've got someone there. But the other ones are near Vic Park up the top, sort of Sturt Street, Vic Park entry. You're going to see them a few times there, and they're probably good timings. Anywhere, because I think you can get in the middle of Sturt Street. I think in the nature strip. So on the main road that you run up, there is a nature strip that goes up the guts of it. I'm fairly sure there were people camped out through the middle there. It's not overly populated. Vic Park's another area where, there's some stuff going on, but there's no big crowds there. So if you wanted someone to easily see you, you could do it there. If you're anywhere down from Pleasant Street down towards the start or finish, there's just too many people. It'd be too hard, it'd be chaos. And I think if you waited on the Pleasant Street corner, you need to move away from the corner when you're going to actually try and not hand stuff out. Yeah, we don't want to promote it, but yeah, if you have a look at the map, that'd be the spots.
And body's all good now, like feeling 100% healthy, no niggles?
Probably 90. Like the foot's sore, but it's going to be sore. And I expect it to be sore towards the back end, and that's where a little bit of the shoe choice. I know the Alpha 1, I think I like test wise perform best in it, but it is a bit narrower, where the New Balance SC Elite just seems to be more forgiving in those areas. So that's where I'm potentially leaning that way. And I've got a bit of a cold, but so I'm married into an Italian family, and it was on that side of the family the issues were, and you can see what happened with COVID in Italy. It's the same thing. You hug and kiss and you shake hands with every person you possibly can. So I think the whole family's got colds. Everyone's coughing and sniffling now. So hopefully I can just shake that in a couple of days and just drug up on that. I
reckon with the shoe decision, you probably want like comfort more so than, because I think it's different. Like I remember racing shorter distances back in the day, and you could get away with wearing an uncomfortable shoe for 5K, 10K. It's 30 minutes, but when you're out there for over 3 hours, like at some point, like if your focus has been taken away from the running because your foot is sore in a really uncomfortable pair of shoes, like that's going to impact your performance more than probably the efficiency of a shoe. So I'd probably go the more comfortable one, even if it's not as efficient, because you at least know it's going to feel good on your feet the whole way. Yeah,
that's where I'm probably leaning. And that, and like, that's where I've had this massive benefit of being able to try numerous shoes and go, I just really like the New Balance. It feels natural to me. It feels like a really comfortable shoe I could wear for any distance. So that's why I'm leaning that way.
Very good. All right. Well, I'll let you go and get some rest. Thank you so much for, I guess, rushing back from Melbourne for tonight's episode.
No, that's okay.
Next week we have Jess Stenson joining us. She's going to run the half marathon, so it'd be good to hear from her. I think we're recording Thursday next week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Thursday next week. So 2 Olympians in a row as well. Brad's also.
Yeah, there you go.
He was an Olympian, so yeah, it's huge.
Yep, and then we'll have the last, the show after the race, and hopefully have potentially a couple of winners on there as well.
Yeah. So that'd be really good. It's coming very quick, and I think now being back in Ballarat for myself too, I'll be able to really experience how big it's got. There is road signs out, so the marathon I've got all the foreclosure of the road signs out, so all that's happening. And we'll see it transformed in the next week or so to have a huge event down here. I know all the sponsors and the marquees and everything are going to be really cool. Running Warehouse, so I think they're having basically a whole shoe shop in Civic Hall where you pick up your bib too, and they're going to deck that out pretty cool. They've got a testing track. I think it's going to be a really, really cool event this year. They did a great job last year, and they've just stepped it up. They're looking at what all the big players are doing here and overseas, and just try and mimic it the best they can at obviously a more regional event, which serving them well so far.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that weekend because I just know so many people running. Even here in Canberra, like there's people that would normally have run Canberra Marathon on the weekend, but they're doing either Ballarat Marathon, Ballarat Half, and obviously guys like Brady. And it's going to be an awesome. Is there a live stream?
There's not a stream. I think you can track people on the tracker part, and I think that's this is only the second year, and obviously I think registration wise, from talking to Adam, it's gone really well. The half has gone super well, and I think it will go past. If Canberra was number 4, nationally. I think it'll go past that this year, depending how many people actually don't get injured in this next couple of weeks, which is like huge for a second year event, regional event. And I think you'll see those sort of, whether it's live streams or the next evolution of the race will happen in 2026, 2027. And just see what it becomes, because I think there's huge opportunity for them to increase the half fields without ruining people's experience. And I know that's a huge thing. I know Mona talked about it, Adam talked about it. They want to make sure that it's a really good experience for everyone that comes here, but also maximise the ability for people to come and do it, because there's people now that have missed out on halves that are searching around for entries. So they just want to be able to maximise the amount of people who come, but keep it a really good experience. So it'll continue to build.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you again for tonight. Go and rest up, get on top of that cold, and we'll chat next Thursday.
Yeah, thanks, Crokes. Appreciate it.
See you, Jace.
See ya.
Ballarat's world-class road running festival returns bigger and better across the weekend of 26th and 27th of April. You can still get entries for the full marathon, 10K, 5K or mile races. Registrations are coming in from all over Australia, so don't delay. Sign up today, ballaratmarathon.com.au.